Stop drinking that white liquid in your fridge right now. It is not what you think it is, and you're being scammed. Big Dairy is thinning out your milk with a watery waste product. You are paying premium prices for industrial runoff. This is the biggest secret in the Aussie supermarket. It's ruining your health and ripping money from your wallet, and the worst part is, you've probably got a bottle of it sitting on your bench. Welcome to the great Aussie milk robbery. You reckon you know what milk is, right? You picture a cow standing in a green paddock in Gippsland or the Atherton tablelands. The farmer milks the cow. It goes into a tanker. It gets pasteurized to kill the bugs. It goes into a bottle, and it lands in your trolley. That is the fairy tale. That is what the marketing on the bottle tells you. Pictures of happy cows and rolling hills. But that is not reality, not even close. For a massive chunk of the milk sold in Coles, Woolies, and Aldi, the reality is closer to a science experiment. It's a process called standardization. Sounds boring, doesn't it? Sounds like safety compliance. It's not. It is a fancy corporate word for stripping milk apart and putting it back together like a Frankenstein monster. Here is what actually happens. The milk arrives at the factory. They put it into a massive centrifuge. This spins the milk at high speeds. It separates everything. The fat goes one way. The protein goes another. The liquid goes somewhere else. They strip that milk down to its bare components. Why? Because real milk changes with the seasons. In spring, when the grass is lush, cows produce creamy, rich milk. In summer, it might be a bit different. But the supermarkets hate difference. They want every single bottle to taste exactly the same, every single day of the year. And more importantly, they want to stretch it. They want to make more money out of less milk. This is where the villain of our story enters the room. Permeate. You might have heard this word thrown around a few years ago during the milk wars, but the companies have gone quiet about it lately. They're hoping you've forgotten. So, what is permeate? Basically, when they make cheese, they take all the good stuff, the curds, the fats, the proteins. What's left over is a greenish, watery liquid. It's mostly lactose, which is milk sugar and water. In the old days, this was waste. They'd feed it to pigs, or they'd dump it. But then some genius in a boardroom had a light bulb moment. Why are we throwing this away? Why don't we dump it back into the drinking milk? And that is exactly what they do. They take that high-quality, rich milk from the farmer. They strip out the cream to sell it to you separately as butter or thick cream, because that's where the profit is. Then they look at the remaining white liquid. The law says milk needs a minimum amount of protein and fat, but nature often provides more than the minimum. So instead of giving you that extra nutrition for free, they dilute it. They water it down with that greenish cheese waste permeate until it hits the absolute bare minimum legal standard. It's like ordering a beer at the pub, and the bartender takes a sip out of your pint and tops it back up with water. You're still getting a pint, but you're getting ripped off. That is the permeate trap. It creates a product that is thinner, waterier, and often higher in sugar because permeate is basically concentrated milk sugar. Have you ever noticed your milk tastes a bit sweet or metallic? Or that it doesn't froth properly in your coffee machine? That's the permeate. Real milk has texture. It has mouthfeel. Standardized factory milk is just white water. And today, we are going to name and shame. We are going to look at the 8 brands, or types of brands, that are the worst offenders. We're starting with the first 4 right now. These are the ones you need to look out for immediately. Offender number 1, the $1. 60 House brand drought milk. You know the ones I mean? The Coles brand, the Woolworths brand, the Aldi farm, the generic label with a generic font. For years, these supermarkets engaged in a price war. They sold milk for $1 a liter, cheaper than water. They destroyed the Aussie dairy industry. Farmers were being paid less than the cost of production. They were leaving the land in droves. Eventually, the public got angry, so the supermarkets bumped the price up. $1, $30, $1, 60 eyes. And they slapped a label on it saying, levy for farmers. Don't be fooled. While the levy helps, the milk inside that bottle is the most aggressively processed liquid on the market. To keep that price low, they have to standardize it to within an inch of its life. They cannot afford to give you 1 milligram of extra cream. They strip it all out. They pump the permeate in. This is volume over quality. It is the definition of minimum viable product. If you are buying the cheapest bottle on the shelf, you are drinking the most engineered product in the fridge. It's nutritionally barren compared to the real stuff. It's just white calories. Check your fridge. Is it a generic supermarket brand? Flip it over. Does it list ingredients? Usually they just say milk, because the law allows them to add permeate without listing it as a separate ingredient. They lobbied hard for that loophole. They argue that because permeate comes from milk, it is milk. That's like saying, because sawdust comes from a tree, I can put it in your timber table and call it solid wood. It's dodgy. Offender number 2, the light and skim traps. This one really makes my blood boil. For decades, we've been told that fat is bad, so we buy light milk or skim milk, 99% fat-free. We think we're being healthy. We think we're doing the right thing for our hearts. But what happens when you take all the fat out of milk? It tastes like dishwater. It's blue, it's thin, it's disgusting. So how do the big brands fix that? How do brands like Pure Light Start, Thomas or Cow Dairy Farmers skim and make their product palatable? They have to bulk it up. They need to add body back into the liquid so it doesn't feel like water in your mouth. Guess what they use? Permeate, and sometimes milk solids. But here's the kicker. Permeate is high in lactose. Lactose is sugar. So you are trading healthy, satiating dairy fats for a sugar spike. You are buying a product that has been processed twice as hard as the full cream stuff. First, they spin the fat out. Then they pump the waste product back in. It is a chemical cocktail disguised as a health product. If you're drinking light milk to lose weight, you're fighting a losing battle against insulin spikes, and you're paying for the privilege of drinking the leftovers from the cheese factory. Look at the sugar content on the back of a skim milk bottle versus a high-quality, unhomogenized milk. You might be shocked at the difference. Offender number 3, the Paul's Mass Market UHT bricks. You know those square bricks of long life milk? The ones you keep in the pantry for emergencies? Specifically, the cheaper varieties produced by massive conglomerates like Parmalat, who own Paul's. Now, UHT, ultra heat treated, is a valid technology. It cooks the milk at a high temp to make it shelf stable. But the processing on these brands is extreme. It's not just the heat, it's the sourcing. These brands often pool milk from hundreds of different farms across massive geographic areas. The quality varies wildly, so the standardization process is cranked up to maximum. They have to ensure that a brick of milk bought in Darwin tastes the same as a brick bought in Hobart. That requires heavy manipulation, heavy permeate use, and often reconstituted elements. Sometimes, if they are short on fresh liquid, they can use milk powders and water to balance the mix. It creates a dead taste, a cooked, sweet, flat flavor. It sits in your pantry for 6 months. Do you really think that holds the same nutritional bioavailability as fresh milk? It's a survival ration, not a daily food source. But people buy it by the carton because it's cheap and convenient. You're drinking a ghost of what milk used to be. Offender number 4, the Cafe Barista blends. This is a tricky one. You see these brands in supermarkets now. Barista Brothers. Cafe Choice. Even the big brands have a specific barista version. You buy it because you want your home coffee to taste like the one from the cafe down the road. You want that frothy, silky texture. But ask yourself, why does regular milk not froth like that? Or why does this barista milk foam up like shaving cream? It's engineered. They tweak the protein levels artificially. They add specific gums or stabilizers in some cases, though they don't always have to declare them if they are processing aids. But mostly, it's about manipulating that fat-to-protein ratio using, you guessed it, permeate and milk solids. They are building a liquid designed for steam, not for your stomach. It's designed to hold a bubble structure. It's structural engineering, not farming. When you look at the ingredients list on some of these barista milks, you'll often see milk solids listed explicitly. That is dried milk powder. They are adding powdered milk into your fresh milk to make it thicker. It's why you feel bloated after coffee. It's why your stomach rumbles an hour later. You're ingesting a concentrated dose of lactose and processed proteins that your body wasn't designed to handle in that quantity. And you're paying a premium price for it. These barista blends often cost $3 or $4 a liter for milk powder and permeate. It is a marketing genius move. Take cheap ingredients, make them functional, and charge double the price of the fresh stuff. So that's the first 4. The supermarket cheapie, the light milk lie, the dead UHT brick, and the engineered barista blend. These are the products filling the shelves of Kohl's and Woolworths right now. They are the standardized army. But we aren't done yet, because there are 4 more offenders we need to talk about. And these next ones are even sneakier. These are the brands that pretend to be premium. The ones that use health washing to sell you junk. And the flavored milks that have more sugar than a can of Coke. You might have the next one in your kid's lunchbox, and you need to know what's inside it before you send them off to school tomorrow. We're going to dig into the health star ratings and why they're lying to you. We're going to look at the A2 phenomenon. Is it real or is it hype? And I'm going to show you the one simple test you can do at home to see if your milk is watered down trash or the real deal. You don't need a lab coat. You just need a glass and your eyes. But first, take a second. Walk to your fridge, open the door, pull out your milk bottle. Does it look watery? Is it a generic brand? Does it say Permeate-Free anywhere on the label? Spoiler, most of them stopped putting that on the label because they started using it again. If you are holding one of the offenders we just talked about, don't pour it down the sink just yet. You need to see how it compares to the next 4, because the deception goes deeper than just water. It goes into the very DNA of the dairy industry. In the next section, we're going deep into the healthy brands that are anything but. Stay with me. Your morning coffee depends on it. You might think paying a premium price protects you from the slush. It absolutely doesn't. Enter the premium pretenders. This brings us to offender number 5, Paul's. It feels like a true blue Aussie icon, right? Wrong. It is owned by Lactalis, a massive French multinational giant. They buy up our local heritage brands and absolutely squeeze the supply chain. While the packaging screams Australian history, the profits are screaming Paris. They dominate the shelf space, pushing out the genuine local farmer co-ops. Moving to offender number 6, any flavored milk boasting a health star rating. The system is completely broken. A chocolate milk can score higher than plain full cream milk simply because they stripped the fat out, but they replaced it with bucket loads of sugar. You are drinking a liquid lolly, not a health drink. Check the back of that Big M, Breca, or Oak. If sugar is listed as the second ingredient, put it back on the shelf immediately. Offender number 7 is the light, or skim, white milk. Marketing has convinced you that fat is the enemy, so they skim it off. But when you remove fat, you remove flavor and mouthfeel. To fix that, they often pump it full of permeate and dried milk solids to thicken it up. It is processed Frankenmilk. You are better off drinking the full cream stuff in moderation. And finally, offender number 8, the massive A2 milk phenomenon. Is it real science or hype? For most people, it is just brilliant marketing. Unless you have a specific sensitivity, you are paying double for a protein variation that makes zero difference. You are funding lawyers, not farming. So, how do you know if you have been duped? Here's the glass test. Pour your milk into a clear glass. Swirl it around. Watch how it coats the side. Real, high-quality milk leaves a thick, white film that slides down slowly. Watered down, permeate heavy milk slides off instantly like rain on a windshield. If the glass looks clean 2 seconds after swirling, you are drinking white water. The industry hates this test because it exposes the lack of solids immediately. They can fudge the label, but they can't fudge the physics. Don't ever settle for watery trash again. Before you buy your next bottle, do the glass test tonight. If your milk fails, pour it out and tell me the brand name in the comments below. I want to build a list of the worst offenders right here, and I need your help to do it. Go check your fridge now.